Why is this card so cute? I am going to break it down so you can replicate this idea. Hello, everyone, and welcome to sunnydaystamping.com. I'm Julie Baca. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, I'm sharing with you 5 helpful tips for card making, for really designing your cards. Because, like, even I get stuck sometimes, especially if I'm trying to use something really, really cute on the front of my card and I can't get it to stand out. So, these 5 tips are going to help you. So, let's get started. When you have a super cute Stampin' Punch set or Stampin' Die set and you've got these little images that you want to use, but then when you go and you put it on your card, it is just absolutely swimming and you can't figure out how to make this look awesome. Let's do these tips. Tip number 1, punch yourself out a circle or cut it with a die. We want to create a base, a shape that our little images can go on. So you can see as I'm holding this up, any shape that we pop on here is going to create a shadow that is automatically going to make this card more interesting. Tip number 2, let's add a little faint hue of color to this circle. We don't want it really dark, but we want it enough to just pop off the paper. My favorite way to do this is to use a blending brush. These are actual like brushes. They're not foam. I love that. And then you're just going to rub it gently on your ink pad, getting ink on your brush. Don't put it directly on your surface. You want to put it on your scratch paper first. That's going to get rid of any harsh marks. And then as you're circling, bring it to the paper that you want to color. And we're just going to circle around until we get it the right shade that we want. Now, it may not look like anything's happening until you move this out of the way and you see the circle that you have left over. Now, I wanted to have a nice kind of outline edge. You can see how it's darker around the edge. If you don't like that, you can blend on your paper first and then punch it out. So now when we put our little tiny image on this light color and then onto our card base, it is going to pop up more. But let's do even more. So for this particular card, because I'm using this stamp set that like my toadstools can be put on some ground, I'm going to stamp that on here. If your stamp set that you're using is like butterflies or something like that, you wouldn't need this, but I'm going to use it and I'm going to create more of a background on this piece here. So I'm going to take this nice big piece of green and I'm going to stamp it towards the bottom of my circle. You can cover it completely, but I'm going to put mine up just a little bit. It is going to go off your paper, so make sure you're stamping on a scrap piece of paper. And now we're going to take that same piece of grass and stamp it on the layer that is going to go underneath, or that's going to go directly on the card base. And we're going to put it just a little down from the center, and we're going to stamp the whole stamp across. So now we're taking the background from our focal point and putting it on our card base, and we're going to pop it up on there. It's just going to make it look so interesting that it's not all on the same level. All right, I'm going to show you how I created these little toadstools, and you can use whatever stamp set you're using. Make your pretty thing right now. This terrific toadstool bundle is a Stampin' Punch bundle. So it's going to punch out this large toadstool cap, the kind of medium one, and then this stem right here. Now, a tip for punching, instead of trying to like line up your stamps and punching it all in one, oh my goodness, that would be so difficult. I like to just stamp on a piece of scrap that I am then going to thread through each layer to get each element. So you want to kind of figure that out first so you can decide where to stamp. So I know when I stamp this stem, I want to do it more up towards the top, because if I stamped it in the middle, it may not reach. The other thing I like to do is figure out the width of my stamped images, and then just take a long piece of scrap, because then I'm going to be able to more easily maneuver. Now for this terrific toadstools, this is just a 1¼ inch piece of scrap that I had. So I'm going to stamp the stem right here. And then each of these mushroom tops. I'm doing this example card in red, but I've got a couple more colors to show you just to give you ideas on how to use this. All right, so now we're going to punch these. We're going to put the stem in first. I'm going to use this hand to line it up. And then once I got it, once I think I've got it lined up, I squeeze just a little bit. I double check myself and then punch it through. So that's scrap, but there's our little stem. We'll put that off to the side. Then we're going to thread in our next element here. What I love about this punch, the toadstool tops are larger than the punch, so there's no white outline. I really love that. Okay, last one is good. Now I'm just grabbing my silicone craft sheet so I don't get glue everywhere. And just need the tiniest bit of glue on the stem to glue this cap on. And you know, you wouldn't have to stamp that stem if you didn't want to. You could use cardstock, just like colored cardstock. Okay, we've got that done. Let's finish our background. We need to make a stem for the big toadstool. So in this stamp set, you've got a big stem, medium, little and thick, tall and spindly. Have some different options. I'm going to use the big one. And I'm just going to put it on top of this mossy hill like that. You know, I might have stamped that a little too far to the left. If I don't like it later, I'm going to have to redo that. All right, tip number 3. One way I think that makes it so interesting in assembling your elements is to make sure some of them are breaking past a border of any kind. So instead of trying to squish all these into one focal point, that's why I chose a smaller punch so that the cap will be extended past. So let's glue that just on the top here. So we've got quite a bit of it going off of that circle. And now this one, we're going to do the same thing. Hopefully, if I did it right, we want to try to make sure this side is going off the circle. Tip number 4, don't just glue this down. Let's pop this up with Stampin' Dimensionals. That's going to create more of a shadow behind this image, which is really going to make it be like the focal point. So go ahead and put 2 Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of there. The rest of these dimensionals are too wide. So what I do is just take this. Don't throw out this when you've used all of your dimensionals. Man, that stuff is made of the same material. So I just take my scissors and just snip a little bit and put it right there. You can also buy the mini dimensionals, but I'm too lazy to get those out. So I always just end up cutting these. All right, so now we're going to put this on here. This is tip number 4, isn't it? Yeah, tip number 4. Make sure you pop this up with dimensionals, and then we're going to pop this whole thing up. So that's going to give us a double shadow, one underneath the circle and then one underneath this small element. So now grab this part back out and get your Stampin' Dimensionals again. Let's pop this whole thing up with dimensionals. Dimensionals are a double-sided foam that just lifts it off the paper just a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch. Now, This should have been one of the tips because this is really cool, I think. We're taking this background. Well, I guess the reason I didn't include it is in case your stamp set doesn't have this kind of an image. And you can use these tips with all kinds of stamp sets that you have. So now we're going to line up this grass image. It's the same stamp, so it's going to line up perfectly. And we're just going to kind of hover it over the top, making sure it's lined up, and then pressing it down. Oh, I did not center this one very well. I think it'll be okay. You can see that we've got that double shadow going on, one underneath the circle and one underneath that small mushroom. Go ahead and grab one of these sentiments. Your sentiment can go anywhere in this bottom area. I'm going to line mine up right with that grass. Oh, that is just such a great pop of color. While we've got our ink out, let's go ahead and do the inside of the card. I'm just going to use these same colors. I'm going to pick another one of the toadstool caps. Then I'm going to use the crumb cake, but I'm actually going to stamp it off so that's just a little bit lighter. And then in that stamp set, there's these tiny, tiny little words, just a little thank you. I think that's so cute. I'm going to put them right underneath these toadstools. This was not one of the tips, but I think it's such an important one. Make sure to just take a second and put something pretty on your envelope. I'm going to take these cute little 3 little mushroom caps, and then I'm going to use this long one. Oh, because that's going to go off my envelope, I'm going to open up my envelope like that. Oh my gosh, that is so, so cute. Okay, tip number 5 is to pick one of the colors out of your card front and grab a layer to go underneath and make it tiny. This is at the 1/8 of an inch smaller than my card base. That is going to just set off a nice frame around it and pull in those other colors. For all the measurements for this card, I've got it on my blog post. My this print and make project sheet is going out to my email subscribers. After this video, it's available for free that first week before it goes to my tutorial store. So if you're not on my email list, you can go ahead and sign up. There's a link in the description of this video. And I send out a new one of these each week. So let's go ahead and glue these layers on. If cutting 1/8 of an inch intimidates you, I did make a video on how to read a ruler, and it just takes the mystery out of it. There's also a download for you to print out and have right on your work surface. Now, just to make it interesting, on the inside of the card, I did not use the skinny layer. I made a little larger layer. And I think it really sets off these colors. Now, I'm going to show you some of my other example cards and showing you different colors to use, but also what it looks like with the different color layers. Look at that cute set. Okay. You can leave it plain like this, or you can add a bow, or you can add some little gems. I'm going to add a couple, 3 of these. It seems to be best to like use odd numbers of these little gems. So I'm going to do 1. Oh my goodness. Why are you flying all over the place? That is not where I wanted you to go. There we go. Flipped over. All right, then we'll put 1 more, maybe right there. I never know exactly where to put those. Oh my goodness, that just really sets it off and makes it so cute. Okay, all the rest of these cards are using that same terrific toadstools. And same colors of everything else. I just changed the color of the toadstool. And here's some different ideas of what to put on the inside. Oh wait, I wanted to show you the card from the beginning. This one, the color I pulled out was the green, whereas this one I pulled out the red. So you can see it is a different look. This one is more subtle, so the toadstools kind of pop out more. This really pulls that color in. I don't know. I can't decide which one which one I like best on that one. The next one I did, this one was Highland Heather, and then this one is peach pie. So I loved that peach with the crumb cake card base. It looked so pretty. And then this is what it looks like with the green as the accent layer instead of the peach. And then, of course, decorating the envelope. So our 5 tips were, if you've got a card with a small image and is just going to drown on this big card, create a background shape, square, circle, oval, something to put underneath that to anchor that little tiny piece. The second is to lightly color that shape. You can even create a background on it like we did, depending on what stamp set you're using. The third tip, make sure that the pieces you put on that shape are extending past the shape. That is going to make it much more interesting. And number 4, pop up one of the images on the shape with Stampin' Dimensionals and popping up the shape that you put them on. And then lastly, pulling one of those colors out to be the border, just to really pull it all together. I put out a new card making video every Thursday, so hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out. If you are interested in any of the products that I use today, man, if you're watching and it's February, we've got 2 weeks left of the celebration, which is Stampin' Up's like super big promotion of the year. You can get free products when you shop or free products when you join, and I am happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a great week. See you next Thursday. Have a sunny day.